Thank you, everybody. Good morning, and welcome to Alibaba AI and Big Data Summit. My name is Junhua Wang, and first, I just want to wish everybody a happy Lunar New Year. So, as you have observed in previous sessions, we have talked about AI for the whole morning. As Alibaba Cloud, as a top cloud platform, provides lots of capabilities, and in the GenAI era. GenAI applications needs new AI and big data platforms to do that. Today, I'm going to talk about some of the new platforms and capabilities we provide to enable our customers and partners to build good GenAI applications. 2023, everybody knows, is the booming year for large language models. So the open source models we talked about earlier, the proprietary models, GPT, Cloudy, and all those different models. So including Alibaba's own, like Tongyi, Queen, or Qingwen models with various sizes. Alibaba Cloud is supporting dozens of models building and running on our platform. Large language model is large, right, by its name. So it varies from a few billions of parameters to hundreds of thousands of billions of parameters. It requires so much computing power to train. That's why we built this enlightening training platform, a comprehensive platform for high-performance computing tasks. Enlightening's capabilities, Jing Green talked about in the early session, it supports hundreds of thousands of GPUs, and it has a very high-speed, no-latency RDMA network, and it has a high-performance file system so that you can have the training and the data processing efficiently. So this platform tries to solve two big challenges. One is scalability. So when you have a few machines, a few GPUs, it's probably easy to run everything together. When we talk about thousands and hundreds of thousands of GPUs together, and how can we use them efficiently? How can we scale them efficiently? So scalability is a key ask. And with this high-speed networking, with our topology-aware scheduling and orchestration, we could scale our training efficiency. It's almost close to linear scalability. So we're talking about with 1,000 GPUs, we can reach 96% of scalability without losing much efficiency. The second challenge for this large training cluster is about stability and effective utilization of the GPUs, right? So with such a gigantic system, errors happen every few hours, from hardware to software to drivers to firmware, everywhere, right? So, I mean, training a large language model takes weeks or months, and if an error happens every few hours, you have to be interrupted and restart every few hours. It's a very tedious job for many large language model training teams. So this platform tries to handle all these errors on behalf of you. So it monitors all these hardware and software issues and handle it automatically so that the user of developers wouldn't notice. With all those improvements, we are able to run large language model training on thousands of GPUs for more than 3 weeks without interruption. So that's a huge relief for the large language model development. So it's not just about GPUs. Training a large language model needs lots of data. And we need an AI-oriented big data system so that we can process the data for the language model training. Here's a real example of our, I think we'll talk about Tongyi foundational model. So as you can see, it has 2 to 3 training image text pairs data, and the raw data size is more than 10 petabytes level. So data processing for large language model training includes data cleaning, data duplication, and in this case, for text-image pair, we'll have to do image rendering as well. And definitely we want to interleave data processing with GPU training so that the expensive GPU can do its work without interruption. So we separate the data processing tasks from the GPU cluster. And we have a new platform called Max Compute to support Python data processing. This new system we call Max Frame, so that our AI data processing can run with the minimal changes. You know, AI developers, they use Python, they love Python. They are not so good at SQL, right? So they do want to use their own Python data processing with the minimal change to do the whole thing together. So in addition, we need to optimize our data read and so that we can process unstructured data very efficiently. With all these improvements, we could speed up the overall training data processing by order of magnitude. You can see the numbers from the right. And it also significantly simplified the whole thing by unifying data preparation and model training. So large language model is, we're talking about GenAI, it's more than just the training. Once you have the model, you can put it into serving, then you try to build applications. Inference needs lots of more capacity, and probably 10x or 100x more than training. I would say the inference is the hottest new battleground. It was training in 2023. Now I think inference becomes the new battleground. So we need new platforms, new optimizations to do that for large language model serving. Our platform, we have whole systems to support this. First, we provide capabilities to deploy GenAI models in a few clinics. You can choose many different models like open source, Quinn models, or Llama 2 models. And in our model scope, so that with a few clinics, it can run. And secondly, we need to support various GenAI scenarios. There's a large language model, there's a text-to-image or text-to-video generation, and some of these are real-time synchronized tasks. Some of these are so expensive. If you want to generate video, it takes 10 minutes or maybe 30 minutes, so we need to support this asynchronous mode. And the whole platform, PyES model service, give you one place you can do deployments, you can do inference, and you can do auto-scaling, and support all these different hardware from CPU to GPU and the different other hardware accelerators. As we talk about inference or large language model inference is so expensive. If we don't do anything, it needs so much capacity and it's just cost prohibitive. So we have to do this inference optimization. If we do, this is a very rapid evolving field, and the cost of inferencing has been decreasing by order of magnitude probably every few months. Because of all these improvements. It's a very complex task to optimize large language model inference. And as you can see, our system we call PyBlade LLM inference optimization. We actually is better than state-of-the-art open source solutions by 1.9x, which is more scalable, and it's 1.4x faster. But it's not just about model, right? So you have to connect your business data with these models to have application. The model needs to understand your particular scenario and your knowledge to generate meaningful responses. So this requires a very rich set of capabilities from our big data platforms. This is the full picture of our big data platform. So first, your business data is stored in various storage, from like object storage to block storage, and those are fast storage systems which are optimized for large language models like NAS or CPFS. Our big data platform also expanded from traditional data warehouse, ODPS holograms, max compute, to data lakes, and to data lakehouse, so that you can have a more real-time data pipeline, and it's a more unified experience. You don't want to have many different data products as much as possible. And for the large language model, for the GenAI era, right, vector service is a very key component. We are launching 2 vector services. One is called a Dash Vector, and the other one is called a Milvus. That's an open source solution. And with all these different data products, how do you manage your data and service easily? That's where we have this data fabric solution called DataWorks. DataWorks provides a unified way to handle data governance and data security across all products, so that you have security in one place. Data can be shared and flown among different data products. It also provides AI-based data insights for you. And we also built something called DataWorks Copilot, so that help you to generate like queries by using natural languages. For example, whether it's English, Japanese, or Chinese, using natural language, it converts that into queries underneath and into a SQL statements. Putting everything together, we can build what we call RAG solution for enterprise. RAG stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. This is one of the most popular framework to build solutions with your own business data. It's not the only one, but right now I would say it's probably very popular. And large language models do not understand your business data, so it has not seen your data. RAG helps you to connect the data with a large language model. It has 3 steps. First, it has this off and online index building phase, so that it put your data into a vector store using large language models to vectorizing your knowledge. Secondly, during the online phase, search and online QA, so you can have a query input. Then you use this vector store to retrieve relevant information. Once you have that information retrieved, then you feed it into large language models. It generates them very natural responses. This also helps to reduce a lot of the hallucinations, because you have this verification phase in the pipeline. So it doesn't just generate the answers on its own. You feed the data on your you feed the data to the large language model. The third step, if this is still not good enough, if the model still doesn't do what you want it to do, you may have to fine-tune your model, right? So the model actually understands your scenario much better. So the third step is you can feed in some of your own data into a language model. Now we generate a customized model for you, and that model will understand or has better knowledge of your own business, and can generate very good answers. So we have capabilities from our platforms to do this, from vectors, vector services, from large language model serving, and from fine-tuning. So I think Jingren talked about this earlier. AI agents are RAG, are the new paradigm for GenAI applications. And that's why we need a new platform to support them. That's what we call the Model Studio. This is a one-stop large language model application development platform. It's built on top of all those AI and big data platforms I talked about earlier. But here, we put everything into one place so that it can manage your data, your models, and your AI agents in one place. You can use open source models or proprietary models, or you can do customized and fine-tune models we talked about earlier. And security is the very foundation of this platform, so that we want to make sure your data is isolated from other people's data. And we do not use your data. Your data is only used for your own application. And we provide policies, we provide tools, security tools, so that you can monitor and you can verify the security of your application. We can use this whole system to build various GenAI applications, vary from customer service, digital advertising, data analytics, copywriting, code generation, and so on and so on. So now let me introduce one of our key partners, DBS Bank, and how DBS leverage big data and AI capabilities to build AI-powered vertical applications. Please welcome Cruz, Executive Director of DBS. Hi, Luis.
Hi. Hi. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Hi, Luis. It's a great honor to have you on stage with us. You have a long history for experience in the IT and the financial services and whatsoever. Can you briefly introduce yourself to our audience?
Yeah. So sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Cruz, as mentioned, and I'm basically head the infrastructure, analytics, and enablement of AI for DBS Bank today. What that really means, what does that really mean, is basically I do the engineering work. I don't do the data science piece, right? Yeah. Like how does a bank actually create a framework like the one you were presenting, right? And make that for financial institutions so that data scientists can do their testing and exploration in a safe and secure fashion, right? So anyway, that's me. So let's get this started.
Yeah, thanks, Luis. So I have a few questions. And how do you see the current capabilities of GenAI, and will it provide a significant value add to your financial industry?
Okay, so that's actually a good question, right? Because as you see, and you heard probably in the previous talks, GenAI is definitely a topic of conversation. However, there's also something we need to accept, which is this is a highly transformative technology, one. Two, it is still being explored, means there's an unlimited amount of use cases being built on top, and the technology is being tested across all these types of different use cases. Now, that puts to you, one key answer, which is, what does this tech actually give me? A lot of the times, it revolves around productivity. How my employees become more efficient. Can they do things faster? Can they do it better? And where are those productivity gains, right? Can I get data access faster, right? So fact of the matter is, a lot of these use cases, the technology actually does the work. Now, we also have a situation where we confront ourselves with reality, which is, I engineer for something good, but it can also be used for other type of activities. So when you got models this big and open, right, then the tech can actually be used for many, many different purposes. So how do you provide guardrails toxicity, reduce hallucination. All of this is actually key areas that are being developed at the moment. So it is quite important to accept both things, right? It's good to do experiments. I would suggest keep them in-house. It's not necessarily to open it up to a public. Test within yourselves, and then you start opening up a little bit. Don't be, what I say, close today. And this is one of the reasons we're working with you. It's because, you know, there's a revolving in the financial sector regulation across the ASEAN region and, you know, China and Japan and et cetera. They're coming with so much different regulation that if you keep yourself with one single vendor, you're basically not going to get anywhere, right? And the regulation is going to shape to a point where we're going to have not one LLM, we're potentially going to be using, you know, 13, 14, 16 different models across the board. So how you create that framework, it's quite important.
Yeah, talking about the regulation, so as we know, financial industry is highly regulated across the whole world. And probably, I think privacy governance risks are super important. So what are the typical requirements on this?
Sure, so look, I think one of the things that you need to understand is the models are very ephemeral when you send data in on a question and then get an output on a data answer back. You can use a RAG framework that you were showing, and you can keep your corpus of knowledge within a vector DB that's all within your control. And all the model is really doing, it's an inferencing. It's just contextualizing, either summarizing and just building the task. It's not fine-tuning and training a model with that corpus of knowledge of your institution inside. So on one side, when we talk about risks and data privacy, right, we need to define what we're talking about. Are we talking about training our own model and exposing that? Or are we talking about, you know, data privacy when it comes to, you know, how to provide, you know, a safe and secure RAG framework, right, to actually provide the right proper, you know, technology and data model governance on the AI and ML side, right? So you gotta like layer it. Where does it stop and where does it actually, it's important and relevant to have, right? So if you're just inferencing, then your guardrails, toxicity, hallucination move up the stack, right? And now you're applying them at a different point, right? So, and then if you want to apply them, then you can actually move up the ladder again. When you create your application, you can actually put additional filters on your app, right? And then make sure that the app is just extracting the pieces that make the productivity enhancement that you're requiring. So I would say this is a really evolving space because the more it changes, every time, and this is also something to be aware, if you create an application today that is highly coupled to a specific model, let's say Tanguy for now, right? And then you release a new model, Tanguy version 2. My app is going to drastically behave differently.
Yep.
So now I actually need to pivot and retune, reshape that application again, right? So the corpus of knowledge inside these LLMs drastically affects the manifestation and how the apps will behave. When we talk about LLM apps, it actually builds an entire new service delivery lifecycle for software, right? Because your SDLC now, if it's an LLM app, it's actually asking for how is it performing, is it the same accuracy, what are the performance metrics of this application before and after the release of the new LLM, et cetera. So that's actually fast changing and evolving. And we're actually engineering for that to basically have a framework that can adapt fastly to that.
Do you have to use the open source models?
Yeah, so the open source, I would say it's quite an interesting space. We actually enjoy using open source models, but I'll tell you what they lack. They lack compute resources. When open source models are being developed, they don't have the same computing power that you have for developing Congi or GPT-4 or Gemini Pro or Gemini Ultra or Bison or or Meta's Llama model, et cetera, et cetera. They don't, right? So you basically have limited amount of resources and you're building on top of that, right? So the models themselves, and this is quite important, not necessarily the bigger the model, the better the output. Sometimes smaller models, 2 billion parameter models, et cetera, are very good at specific tasks. And this is why you have to be open on your framework of what models you offer for what, right? And then, there are institutions and companies and even open source that build smaller models that are quite efficient at specific tasks. Not necessarily multi-model like you were presenting here, video augmentation and different things like that. But yeah, I would say open source is definitely something that you got to keep open to yourselves as companies that you're investing in exploring this tech, because you might have a small model that can actually behave extremely well on specific use cases.
I see. Yeah. Thanks, Luis. So as we are building some partnership, what do you expect from cloud service provider in the GenAI space? And how do you see the partnership with the Alibaba Cloud?
So when we started this journey with Ali, it was September in 2023. And it all started because, when there is a deficiency of hyperscalers in the China region, there's also a win for other hyperscalers to grow into that particular space. And for us, we needed to look at not only do they build their own LLMs, but do they actually provide and have the computing power to sustain and hold the LLMs that can actually provide and serve multiple corporations at the same time. So that's one of the things that we actually look. If you actually look at what's happening today in this region across the board, right? When you're trying to do data exploration, and let's just say you just spin up a Jupyter notebook for that matter on whatever cloud that is, most often than not, when you're trying to use pay-as-you-go, there are no resources available on the GPU sizes that you need to run the LLMs. Guaranteed service delivery on GPUs to do exploration across use cases for large language model and applications, it's something that is critical. So when you're evaluating, right, cloud service providers, you actually need to look a lot into that. It's not what they have on their service catalog. It's that the resources are truly available at any time, at any point, right? It's putting it on their app store or their marketplace is one thing. Having the availability is a completely other topic, right? And there are two sides of this story. One of them is most of cloud providers are in the business of actually guaranteed resources. You pay up front, I guarantee you the resources, they're already pre-reserved for you. But when you're doing analytical compute, which is basically all ephemeral in nature, you build a lab, you destroy the lab, right? You're talking about on-demand. And that on-demand is critical for data scientists to do data exploration on any workbench for that matter. So definitely that computing resources, infrastructure capacity for their tenancy, it is important for us.
That's the most important topic. Yeah. Okay, great. Luis, thank you very much for on stage with us. And I hope we'll have a great partnership down the road.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you. Thanks. So to recap, so this is a full picture of our AI and big data platform. We provide financial grade security, and we are strongly recognized from benchmarks and industry analysis firms like Forrester and Gartner. So we will have more detailed technical talks in the breakout sessions in the afternoon, so stay tuned.